down, Belle? Why are you laying on the floor, Belle? You got a trampoline bed. You got your own little doggy house inside there I set up for you. With your little doggy bankies. In the winter, you got a doggy heater. Man, this dog lives better than most people I know. She's out here laying on the street. Why are you laying on the hard ground? Huh, babe? Say hello. Say hello. Yes, I'm a beautiful lady. I'm a very pretty lady. Gonna put her on that WhatsApp and turn her around, start making the bucks. That dog is so good looking. Anyway, for those of you who have been following my search for my 10mm, it continues. Those of you who know, I've gotten rid of a lot of shit in here. Still ridding, still trying to rid of the shit. But as you can see, there's just no accounting for the 10mm. There's always a 10mm missing somewhere. So, you know, if anybody's got an extra 10mm they're looking to get rid of, hit me up. Other than that, stay tuned for more excitement. Drift Trike's going to be coming out of hibernation soon, so's that. I got some shit in the mail the other day that I've been waiting on. I had a two-seater three-wheel bike. I was side-by-side three-wheeler actually. I was going to hook up for this old feller. Around the corner here kept coming by wanting me to do it. But she's got rot on the inside. I don't know if you guys can see it, but where the rear mounts up, where the rears mount up, I discovered some rottage. So I checked out some other spots on the frame, and she's totaled out. Really, the whole inside of the frame is rotted from the inside out. Somebody had designed it to make some, or decided to remount some chain guards. It looks like the bike was rebuilt from the ass back. You know, if you look at the diameter of the pipe and the shitty weld job and the gussets, right there is where the chain guard, one of the mounts were, and then, you know, obviously they put a mount here and a mount here, but they drilled a hole through here, but then they didn't put any relief or weep holes in the back of the frame, so everything just puddled up in there and she rotted from the inside out. This was for a 90-year-old local gentleman who kept coming by. He originally came by and he gave me some motors out of a Jazzy or something like that, a couple motors, brushed motors. You know, of course the guy, you know, innocent, you know, dropped them off, thought they worked, you know, wanted to work the deal out. You know, they didn't work. I was going to build them the bike out of, you know, maybe some of the parts on these electric bikes here, and maybe just use a battery or the computer and get a motor or something. But anyway, I ended up having to order a 20-inch front wheel hub, and you know, the price I gave him, I wasn't even breaking even, or I would have been basically breaking even, and would have had like an impossibility factor of paying myself and my partner for even doing the job, which he started, you know, getting the paint off of it. And if you look, there's like 7 layers of paint. And I'm sure that's why this fella didn't know how this frame was so bad. I mean, there's another hole there. I mean, that's welded. You know, that's not, I mean, that's drilled. But on the underside here somewhere, I believe it's right here. Not sure if you guys can see it because I can't see it down that low. But there's a hole there somewhere. I'm going to just touch the screen. Hopefully it'll stop it from recording. But anyway, moral of the story is it's just unfixable. And I quoted him at, you know, I don't even want to say the amount because it's soul crushing the price I gave him to build it, and I'll never do it again. And I only did it for the guy because he told me a story you know, he's in his 90s. His wife, him and his wife used to ride, you know, bicycles, you know, regular bicycles, and she fell and broke her elbow and her arm, you know, another bone in her arm, and she basically never made it out of the hospital. You know, she died. You know, she had the surgery for the pins, and they, you know, they weren't. It just had big problems with the surgery. And she was old. You know, she's in her 80s. They were still riding bikes. You know. So, but anyway, while she was in the hospital, he came across this and bought this and wanted to do it, you know, for them to ride when she got out, and she never made it out. So of course, you know, now I felt bad for him and wanted to do it for almost free, you know. Obviously, you know, I can't do things for free, but I figured I'd do it a little over cost. At least that way I can, you know, get the thing together for him. And but it's just totally shot. It's totally shot. So he's on vacation now, visiting his family down south. Don't have his number. Just waiting for him to call me, but hopefully I can find his number somehow and let him know. To ruin his vacation. I almost don't even want to call him and tell him to ruin his vacation. You know, and be like, yeah, the bike you know, you had your heart set on is just destroyed. But it's got to be done at some point. But anyway, so that moves me on to now, moving on to the other projects in here and continuing with the cleanup. But yeah, that was supposed to be a short story. It turned out to be a long story. But just like another one of the bikes I build, if you just check out my pictures, check out maybe Gas Bike on Facebook and some other places. I built this West Coast Jesse James bike and a blue cruiser for a biker guy that you know, he had hit his head pretty hard at some point in his life and had some Dane Bramage tattooed to the hilt. You know, looked like he'd kill you if you looked at him the wrong way. Nicest guy you'd ever meet. But did some time in prison. You know, did some prison time. And you know, he wanted, his son was at that age now where he was about 14, and he wanted to get the kid a bike, and he wanted me to build him and his son a bike they could ride together. And I did it for, you know, like once again with the heartstrings, I did it for half of what I should have charged. If you check it out, it's the bike that looks like a Sportster almost. It's got the big aluminum head on it, white walls. I mean, it's a decent looking bike. I mean, I'd like to ride it, but anyway, long story. That one is the guy came and picked him up because the bike was so low. You know, I tried to explain to him, you know, you can't be trying to jump up curbs with the bike because the exhaust will hit the curb. And apparently they were doing that, and they bumped they bent the exhaust. So they had it about a couple days, 2-3 days, brought it back. I customized the exhaust even more, so there was no possible way they could hit the exhaust. Guy had it, brought it back, had it for a few days, and then oh no, yeah, he didn't even have it for a few days. He brought it back, and I fixed it, and before he even had a chance to pick it up, he died. He ended up going into the hospital. Something to do with that brain damage thing I told you about. He hit his head pretty bad, and he didn't know what day it was and what year it was, and when he went into the hospital, and then it got worse and progressively worse. Turns out the fellow's mother was, you know, still alive. You know, the guy was, you know, in his 50s, I guess, and his mother. The guy's mother came and picked up the two bikes, or the one bike that I fixed for the exhaust. So they had to re-customize anyway. Came and picked the bike up for the kid. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, you bend over backwards for people, you know, 9 out of 10 times, and they don't give a shit, and you end up getting screwed and being upset about it. But at least, like, I felt good about it because, you know, the guy wanted something for his kid. You know, he wanted Here's this biker guy who never spent any time with his kids. He's in prison his whole life. Gets out and wants to do something with his kid, like ride the bikes. You know, I'm glad at least they got to ride it for a few days. It was about a week before they smashed the exhaust, and I had to repair it. But I mean, he's got a really nice bike now to, you know, remember his father by. Even if he doesn't ride it, it's a nice piece of art. I mean, it's spent a lot of time on it. But check it out. I think Ground Up 2020, there might be a slideshow for it on my TikTok. And then Ground Up on Facebook, or Ground Up 732. There's a bunch of pictures of a bunch of old builds. I figured it's just a goofy story I'd tell about how I always end up going overboard on stupid shit. Anyway, avoid the clap. I hear it sucks.